Just about everything that you see on this redesigned 2014 Toyota Tundra is all new, but just about everything that you don't see isn't. That's right, Toyota opted to keep the same engines and the same transmissions in its 2014 truck, but it brought this truck a whole new level of style, sophistication, and refinement that the Tundra simply didn't have before. And those three things are going to come together to help this truck address what is arguably its biggest issue: image. Image, of course, starts on the outside of any vehicle, and Toyota has done its best job to try to Americanize its Tundra. The hood has been lifted by 40 millimeters, and a lot of the round, bubbly edges that were on the old Tundra have been squared off, including the wheel arches. Overall, the front end of this truck makes it look tough and brawny, ready for business, especially with that big, menacing snout up on top. Now, there's a couple small attentions to detail that Toyota paid specifically to people who are going to be trailering back here that I'd like to point out. First of all, these lights have been moved out away from the license plate, so not only do they illuminate the plate, but they also illuminate that 4 and 7 pin connector, which is located up high, it's easy to get to, and you can work with it at night. Next, Toyota added this new 3-piece bumper. Why, you might ask? Well, anyone who's ever towed and backed into their trailer can tell you that a full bumper can be expensive to replace. This way, if you only ding the rear left-hand corner, you only have to replace the rear left-hand corner. And lastly, Toyota spent some time with the tailgate. They added that new spoiler up there for better aerodynamics, and they embossed Tundra right into the sheet metal, making it straight up badass. You can still get one V6 and 2 V8s with your Toyota Tundra. At the bottom of the range, you can get a V6 good for 270 horsepower and 278 pound-feet of torque, hooked up to a 5-speed automatic transmission. The middle engine is a 4.6-liter V8 that offers 310 horsepower and 327 pound-feet of torque. Lastly, sitting on top of the range is the 5.7-liter V8 that puts out 381 horsepower and 401 pound-feet of torque. Equipped with the 5.7 and 4x2 in regular cab trim, the Tundra's tow capacity tops out at an SAE-rated 10,400 pounds. Now, Toyota spent a lot of time on this interior in the new Tundra, and it really shows. Now, this is the 1794 trim, which is Toyota's new luxury truck trim meant to take on the Laramie Longhorn from Ram and the King Ranch from Ford. Why 1794, you might ask? Well, Toyota's truck plant in San Antonio is built on a ranch that was first founded in 1794. That's right, Toyota really has to fight tooth and nail for every little bit of American heritage that it can pick up. A lot has changed on this interior compared to the old one. First of all, in this 1794 trim, you really do get some beautiful materials. The seats are very comfortable, and they even incorporate a little bit of suede in there. The interior materials on this truck make it seem a lot more like a Lexus than a Toyota, and that was something that you just simply couldn't get out of a Tundra before. Previously, the Tundra always felt more like a bare-bones work truck. You could never dress it up to the point where you felt as though you were in a real luxury interior. On the old Tundra interior, Toyota actually went a little bit overkill with the size of its knobs and buttons, again, trying to be more Americanized. This Tundra features much more regular size knobs, and it doesn't look so kitschy as the old truck used to. Technology has been stepped up on this truck too. You get Toyota's latest version of their N-Tune infotainment system, which includes things like Pandora, satellite radio, and navigation. There's also a new 3.1-inch screen in the info cluster. Toyota even eliminated one of the gauges down there to make it even simpler to read, and the screen only shows you one bit of info at a time, so at a quick glance you can get what you're looking for. Particular attention was also paid to the storage in this truck. There's now a new spot on the dash and a larger center console so you can store your stuff, but frankly it's not quite as much storage as some of the other trucks in the industry have. Well, that 1794 edition definitely features some nice colors on the inside. All trucks in the Toyota range have been seriously upgraded compared to the old ones when it comes to the interiors. Take this SR5 trim, for example. Sure, you don't get those leather suede seats like you do in the 1794, but everything in this truck has just been made a lot more modern looking than the old truck. In the old Tundra, you didn't really want to look around too much because all you had was really ugly plastic to look at. This truck at least has some chrome trim and some different style lines that break up the interior rather than just having one solid color straight across the dash. One last thing Toyota did to make this interior better than the old Tundra is they moved the entire center stack 2.6 inches closer to the driver. That makes sure that all your controls are within easy reach even while you're on the road. So sure, most of the changes did come to the outside of this truck, but Toyota did do a little bit to make sure that this Tundra is the smoothest driving Tundra yet. They've added new shock valve dampening, which helps the truck feel a lot smoother than it used to. If you remember, the old Tundra would get a lot of box chatter and it felt almost too rigid when you were on the road. This truck does not have any of those traits. To complement that new soft ride, Toyota's also tweaked the steering feel on this new Tundra, and I gotta say that it's a bit of a double-edged sword. This new steering is very light. On the highway, it makes cruising easy. You only need to put a little bit of input in it to make sure the truck tracks straight. But on the flip side, in a city situation, you need to turn the wheel quite a bit just to make a 90-degree turn on this Tundra. It loses some of that direct, rigid steering feel that the old Tundra had, but this truck on the highway will be a much better long-distance cruiser. Now, when you opt for the top-of-the-line 5.7-liter V8 on this Tundra, it's paired exclusively with the 430 rear axle ratio. Now, for anyone who knows trucks, they know that that's a very torquey ratio, and I'm going to tell you that this engine feels great, even with 8,500 pounds hooked up to the back like I have it right now. You lose a lot of your fuel economy though. That's the biggest issue. This truck is still going to suck down fuel, but if you have a lot of towing to do and you're going a long distance, the confidence that this Tundra gives you is going to make it worth your while. Although we didn't get a chance to take this Tundra on a long distance, over about 50 miles of mixed driving, we averaged between 12 and 13 miles per gallon. That's definitely not a great number when you consider that every other manufacturer has really stepped up their fuel economy. One thing that this Tundra seriously lacks is an integrated trailer brake controller. Every other pickup on the market right now offers one, and if Tundra really wants to compete with the big boys, they better get one. If you plan on taking your Tundra off-road, I can tell you that it's going to be able to handle it. That 430 rear end puts down the torque that makes this thing a pretty serious rock crawler, and you can crawl over those obstacles rather than having to hit them with momentum. For the serious off-roader who wants to take their Tundra out on the trails, you can get the TRD 4x4 package, which equips this truck with Bilstein shocks and new custom designed tires, which I can tell you grip the ground and especially the mud real well. Fuel economy be damned, Toyota spent all of its time making this the most comfortable and best looking Tundra ever. But if you plan on buying one, expect to spend a lot of your time at the gas station.
For more on this review and others like it, visit autoguide.com.